Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm in Seattle at ElixirConf right now, soaking in the beautiful weather out here. Yeah, life is good. I spent yesterday kind of just exploring around Seattle, hitting up some of my favorite spots, doing some thinking, getting some work done. So, all in all, so far it's a good trip.
Nice. How is the conference?
The conference is good. It just kicked off this morning. Jose Valim did his usual keynote to kick things off and gave an overview of what's been happening in the last year in the Elixir world and kind of what's to come. And I felt good after that keynote because it sort of felt very similar to what I hear from the Elm community. You know, the last release was a relatively minor release, and it was just sort of incremental improvements on kind of the existing core of the language. And his philosophy is like, the language is nearly complete. And so this is what you should expect is just very small incremental improvements. He talked about how releases is the last big thing that's probably going to make it into the Elixir standard core. And then everything else will probably live in kind of the package realm for users to contribute. And then he kind of talked about his criteria for how things get into the language. And it just, all in all, seemed very thoughtful and kind of similar to the way that, Evan thinks about Elm development. These days, I'm just getting more and more comfortable with stability as opposed to kind of what you see in the JavaScript realm of constant, churn and new stuff happening all the time.
Yeah. It's interesting that these languages, which are substantially newer than a lot of their competitors, are embracing stability.
Yeah. You have to show a lot of restraint, I think, to not want to just try to solve every problem. And I think, Elixir knows what it's good at, and that's proved out well with the Erlang underpinnings. And we know what's good. And I think Jose and the team kind of believe in having a relatively small core as opposed to this massive, expansive standard library. So yeah, kudos to them.
Cool. Have you been to a RubyConf recently or like past RubyConfs?
I think the only RubyConf I've been to is Gogaruko a few years back. I think you were actually speaking at that one, by the way, giving a refactoring talk or something.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Are you feeling any differences between the communities?
There's definitely a shared appreciation for the things that Elixir brings to the table. And I think there are a lot of Rubyists or former Rubyists who have kind of come into the Elixir community from what I've seen, because that's sort of how it got started. Jose was a big Ruby contributor. It's a lot of people who are sort of looking for something with a bit more performance baked in and kind of value similar things are ones who tend to kind of gravitate towards the Elixir community. But it seems like a very healthy community too, which I think is well influenced by the Ruby world. Everyone's kind of, open to helping each other and contributing things into the package ecosystem. So it reminds me a lot of the Ruby community, but it seems like it is a bit smaller right now. And even though the conference is big, I feel like there's over 500 people here. For me, it's a bit daunting, like dealing with a conference of that scale and figuring out, how to talk to all the people that I want to talk to and stuff. It's a little bit tricky.
Yeah. What are your goals for being there?
I just really want to make more connections with people in the Elixir community. And, my hope for Level is that it can be a good use case example of, full-scale production Elixir applications, because I think a lot of those are probably behind closed doors in proprietary code bases. So I was talking to someone who went to the workshop ahead of the conference on GraphQL from the guys who created the Absinthe library in Elixir. And he told me he was kind of showing them the Level code base after the workshop, and they were pretty happy to see that. I don't think they were aware of it actually yet, but they're like, wow, this is awesome. Like that there's this kind of full scale example that's kind of out in the open. So, making those types of connections and just letting people kind of know what I'm up to and then absorbing other people's knowledge. I kind of have a checklist of things that I would like to get more clarity on, like how to deploy this into production without taking on a huge DevOps burden myself is probably one of my number one things. And this is sort of something that's in flux. is like how to do deployments well, and what's kind of the standard path for doing it.
You can't just push this to Heroku?
Well, I can, and I am right now. But one of the drawbacks with that is it's kind of not the standard path for deploying Erlang code. So normally with a Erlang code base, you can do things like hot swapping in new code while the processes are still running. And that gets you some benefits, like any state that you're storing gets retained. And I think a lot of Elixir and Erlang applications make use of in-memory storage as opposed to pushing stuff into something like Redis. Like for an application like Level, there's going to be a lot of open WebSocket connections, for example, from all the clients, and you don't want those constantly dropping and reconnecting every time you deploy. So to really like make use of that property of it and not have to split like WebSockets into a separate application that's deployed less frequently or something, you kind of have to go with more traditional Erlang deploys, and that's just not an option on Heroku right now. There are some other platforms, I think, that I already was talking to someone today, and he mentioned the name of a company I hadn't heard of yet. So definitely going to check them out. But yeah, just kind of stuff like that, I think, is my biggest goals here.
Nice. It seems like a really nice sort of guerrilla marketing opportunity. Like you said, if you could be one of the notable open source apps that people learn from and hold up as an example, that's pretty great for you.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of power in just making like a face-to-face connection with various people. Like a couple of weeks ago, Richard Feldman happened to be in town from the Elm community. He was recording something with Front End Masters, and I just happened to notice a tweet where he was talking about being in the MSP airport or something. And I was like, hey, you in town? And we met up for lunch, and that was like great. And I think I've been following him for a while online, watching talks and stuff, but he didn't really know who I was. And I'm just, another person on the internet, but making a personal connection like that just is much better, I think, than just purely having virtual connections with people.
Totally. Yeah, no, that's great. And you never know how it's going to be useful. And even if it's not useful, it's just pleasant. It's nice to interact with humans for real.
Yep. Turns out he's as good a guy as he seems in his YouTube videos of conference talks. So,
yeah, that's not too shocking.
Yep.
I noticed you've been keeping up your dev journal. That's cool.
I have, yeah. So that's been going well. To catch people up, I think I talked about it a little bit last time, but I've been wanting to continue chronicling more stories about the day-to-day building process, in addition to what I'm doing here on the podcast. I would go days without doing any kind of quote-unquote marketing activity and feeling a little bit guilty about that. So I just kind of looked around like what's some other byproducts of what I'm doing day-to-day can I be putting out there into the world? And so started doing this journal. It's not quite daily, but almost daily, kind of summarizing what I worked on. And some of it, may end up being mundane, but I'm just sort of brain dumping at the end of the day, and it's not taking too much time, which was my goal. I didn't want this to be another project where I would end up trying to be a perfectionist about it and spending, hours writing and editing. Like I'm really just dropping it into the editor, and I throw it in Grammarly just to like double check that I'm not, having horrible grammar, and then throwing it up there. And so far it's good. I end up going with the Subtle platform, which has, I feel like, just the right amount of reader engagement. Like I don't want another comment feed to check in on and worry about why have there been no comments, or maybe there's discussion going on that's negative or just something that's drawing me into wanting to respond to stuff. Like I don't need another distraction. So this just has like a kudos button where people can just kind of thumbs up whatever they read. And I feel like that's a good balance of making sure, like letting me know I'm not just talking to a vacuum, but also like not having to deal with too much distraction.
And it looks nice. The design is great.
Yeah.
And it's not medium.
Just very minimalist and not medium. No paywalls. Pardon the interruption.
Yeah. And you're paying for it, so it'll stick around.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's $6 a month, and they have this pledge to say like, even if you were to stop paying, we will just, plan to keep your content up forever. And so it's just, seems like a good, solid approach for that company.
Yeah. It's pretty legit. Am I misreading their pricing here? It's $6 a month or $70 a year. That makes sense. It's cheaper.
Yeah. Just a slight discount.
Very slight discount, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's nice that you have like a accountability thing just for your day-to-day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's marketing, it's accountability, it's probably helping you summarize your thoughts. That's got a bunch of different benefits from that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just enough where I know like, okay, so what am I going to work on today? And I'm already thinking about like, what would be something good to like summarize at the end of today? And I don't know, it just helps me focus because I know if I spend 5 hours refactoring something that doesn't really matter, then I'm not going to have much interesting to say. And I really should be moving the ball forward every day. So
yeah, totally. Every time I see you tweet a link to the post and it says level journal, I always think it's live journal.
Someone else mentioned that too.
That's an interesting choice you've made in platforms.
Yeah. Oh, one other note too on that, just a technical note. Subtle has like this beta option to enable SSL on the site for custom domains. But they're like, if you want this turned on, email us and let us know. And I sent them an email, but haven't heard anything back yet. I'm not sure. I don't know if this is like a very open beta or if it's a very narrow beta or whatever. So I was like, shoot, I really would like this not to appear as not secure. And like, it's just nice to have it on SSL. And then I noticed someone else, TJ Miller, I think, had his custom domain on Subtle under SSL. So I was like, how did you do that? And turns out he's using Cloudflare for his DNS, and they will automatically, like for free as part of your account, be like the SSL termination spot so that you can just, for any domain, have basically free SSL turned on at the DNS level. So I didn't even have to get them to toggle it on. So that was cool.
Is Google doing the same thing on the .app domains?
The .app domains are required to be SSL, but they won't do the SSL for you, I don't think. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure if you actually bought it through them and had them host your DNS. Maybe they would. I'm not sure. But yeah, I know it's definitely required.
Joel set that up, not me. So
yeah,
I don't actually know how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to cover? Should I start talking?
I think that's about it for me. There's one other thing that sort of been interesting. I'm been dipping into kind of newer web platform stuff, and it's been a fun experience. So I built a custom element for Level for like injecting some custom HTML into my Elm virtual DOM. And so that was like learning a whole new set of APIs. And then I'm just starting to work on kind of the infrastructure for allowing Level to send push notifications. That involves like service workers and all that jazz. So I'll report more in the future about this stuff, but it's kind of interesting running into areas of web technology that I've so far not touched yet.
Yeah, totally. And it's crazy how much more there is every time you look and like how many browsers support it.
Right. There always could be more browser support, but in general, this is a really good time to be building web apps compared to, say, even 3 or 4 years ago, where a lot of this stuff you can't really polyfill. You have to have native support for it, or else it's just like not really an option. So I sort of feel like, grateful that I don't have to say like only works in Chrome or something like that. It's like a lot of these kind of really core pieces are now pretty ubiquitous. So.
Yep. That's cool. Yeah, it was nice when I was implementing action cable stuff to like really dive into WebSockets a little bit more, because I had a rough idea of what they were, but I've until you've actually worked with it and clicked around and built some stuff, like you really don't grok it. So it's nice to have a legit excuse to dive into fun new tech.
Totally.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. The first note on my podcast notes is ups and downs! !
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I don't know why people say startups are so easy, because my experience, there's some ups and downs.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So it was just like an interesting week. So Monday was a holiday, or like the national holiday. But it was funny. I was talking to a friend and he's like, "Are you taking Monday off?" And I was like, "Yeah, sort of." It's like, I will continue to get paid the same amount on Monday that I did on all the other days, which is nothing. So I could not work, or I could work and try to make a thing that pays me things. So I did a little bit of work on Monday, and just that alone kind of made me feel like a boss, honestly, where it's just like, yeah, other people are enjoying the day, and I did some of that too, but also like it felt good to get a little productivity. It actually felt like bonus work somehow, or I felt like extra like virtuous. I was like, oh, this work wouldn't get done normally or something. And so That felt really good.
I experienced the same exact phenomenon, and I don't know what it is, but like if I like sometimes I'll just have like a free evening where like I don't have anything planned and maybe my wife's like doing something else, so I'm just like sitting at home and I like crack open the laptop and start like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to implement push notifications tonight. Something about it just feels extra good, even though it's really just using time like any other time I work. But
Yeah.
still,
I also had,
you know?
I also had this impulse where I was like, I want to do something that I wouldn't normally do. Like I want to work on something that's like a little bit outside and it's maybe not the highest priority, but will be satisfying to work on. I don't know if that happened to you when you were doing it, but that ran through my head.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So Monday was like great. I was like, oh man, we're killing it. This is going so well. And then Tuesday morning, I was planning to pair with Spencer using the app, using Tuple. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to be dog fooding it. And like a bunch of stuff was just broken. We had like merged some PRs and it broke some things. And so I was like, I can't see your screen. And like now I can't hear you or you can hear me. But it was just a bunch of little things. And it was like very demoralizing. And so that was like, damn, after that really good Monday. Then there was some other like personal stuff that came up. And so I was like, the three of us were kind of like knocked out of productivity for Tuesday. And it was just like, that's such a bummer. And then Wednesday, we had this like really great, productive, wide-ranging exploration of different latency reduction techniques and protocols. And we were printing papers and reading them. And like, it was just such a good day. And so like the highs and lows have just been kind of crazy. The stuff that creeps in on those low days where it's like, oh man, is this ever going to work? Like, how much money am I spending this month again to like continue to work on this thing? And like, man, I'm burning through the savings every day. I'm working on this. And it's just like, it's crazy. The automatic thoughts that are like sneaking when I'm not having a good day.
Yeah, totally. And I can especially like resonate with the kind of the feeling of trying to actually use the product with more than just like yourself in a testing environment. Like, because it's good to like feel good about small wins and like, oh, I've tuned the latency of this one particular scenario by this much. Like that is a win and you feel really good about that. But then like getting to that higher level and maybe experiencing rough spots can then be really difficult. Like I just tried using Level with a friend and I was just literally just like sent a link like, here, just log into this thing and let's just chat back and forth on this message thread. There's like known usability issues, like knowing how to expand a post into like a full page view is not straightforward at all. And it's on my list to like, I need to add some kind of indication of where you can do this thing. But I've just been so used to always clicking the top of the post and that gets you there. And like just all those things being totally obvious are like, how do I get to that screen? I'm like, go to your inbox. Yeah, where's that? It's not there. Oh, you have to refresh the page right now. Oh, okay. You know, and everything just seemed rough. And I was like, oh boy, I have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, totally.
Even though when you're just like using it with yourself, you know all the paths and how to do everything, and everything's feeling like it's good.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. No product survives first contact with the user, right?
Yeah.
The good news is we fixed all that stuff. The app is really getting there, which is cool. It still feels like there's a lot to do, but we do keep chipping away at it. And that was what I had to keep telling myself on Tuesday, which is like, okay, when I sit back and think about like where we are versus like a week or two ago, we are making forward progress. So, and that's like one of those things I have to counter. Like when it's going poorly, it feels like we're not going anywhere because I guess I'm seeing all the stuff that's yet to be done or the stuff that doesn't quite work, but we're moving forward. So like there's keyboard support just got merged. So you can type now on the remote machine, which is awesome. We support everything except for Command Tab. Command Tab is a little fiddly. It has its own complexities, but like all the keystrokes are getting across the wire, which is awesome. Mouse is kind of there. You have your own mouse. You can swipe it around. You can left click. You can scroll. There's like stuff like dragging and right clicking are still to TBD and whatnot, but like you can pair now. Like it's kind of an app. It's becoming an app at a rapid pace.
Was there a moment when the stuff clicked in where you're like, this is actually working? Like, did that happen this week for you?
Yeah, I actually had a hilarious moment where, so I was working on the app and I set up like a debugger and I was like, okay, I need to like initiate a call so I can hit this breakpoint and like check some values. And so I fired up the app and I saw Spencer's name and I clicked it and I hit call. And then a couple seconds later, Spencer's like, hey dude, what's up? And I was like, oh, sorry, man. I forgot that this is a working app that actually does things and calls people. I didn't mean to call you for real. And it was just like, oh yeah, like it's a thing now. And like Spencer's
on
online.
His side, he must have been like, ooh, I'm getting an incoming call on Tuple.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And like, like Spencer being on my friends list means he was actually online and like he like answered the call because he got an incoming notification. It was like, and I was like, wow, this is okay, cool. That was just like a really awesome moment for me.
Yeah, that's really cool. Got to cherish those moments.
Totally. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things I'm learning is like enjoy the good stuff because there's always, some bad stuff there too. And you need the good to help you get through the bad, I guess.
Yep.
Yesterday, we got a handle on, we have a lead, we have some clues on some performance stuff, some latency stuff that is very promising. And I think I'm going to be like a little hush on some of the specifics on this stuff. We have a lead on something that's like, ooh, this is better than a lot of the other things we've seen out there. We might be able to get numbers that other people would have trouble getting to. That's sort of a strong way of saying it, but it's just, we have some good leads. So we're tracking down some promising things.
Was this, without giving away, important details, was this something that you guys discovered on your own from your own research, or did you get some input from someone outside who pointed you in the right direction, or?
There exists some prior work on this subject that is proving useful towards us. So that's cool too. So it's like, okay, the keyboard's working, the mouse is mostly working. Those two things are both getting there. The latency is acceptable right now, but we have some promising leads there. Next week, we're going on retreat again. We'll be doing another one of those like hardcore focus weeks. So I'm feeling pretty good. I think at the end of next week, we could be in like a pretty good spot, hopefully. So like this has been us testing it, although tonight Spencer is pairing with a friend of his using like the alpha of the app. So that's cool. I'm sure there'll be a lot of things that come out of that. We've basically been only using this on like a local network and on, the latest OS and super fast MacBooks. And like, there's just like a lot of variables that we have not even started to mess around with. So I suspect the iceberg is, as usual, a lot below the water. At least the top looks good.
Well, let me know when you want to pair with me on some level stuff. And
yeah,
I'll be happy to alpha test for you.
Yeah, totally. That would be cool. We're getting to that point. We're even like hooking up our like releasing and distribution stuff. It's like allow people to actually like, here's the finished app and here's how you install it. And like we have a build script or like a release script that bumps the versions and all this stuff. So like all the little pieces are starting to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So
cool.
It feels good.
I don't think you've talked about like dates yet on the next step for your beta testing or whatever, but like, does this give you at least more clarity on when you might be able to go to that next step?
Yeah, I mean, every bit we get closer lowers the uncertainty of the remainder. I think I still would definitely not commit to a date yet, but we have some internal goals and like we're looking pretty good to be on track for those. Yeah, I'm looking forward to be able to commit to a date or like have. I think there's going to be like a pre-alpha where it's like, all right, Spencer uses it with one friend and I use it with one friend, and like we just like a trusted person. Like maybe you and I will do a little something to get like the friendliest kind of audience. And then move forward from there, see what falls apart.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, I think that's it for me.
I think that's it for me as well. So I'm right now recording at just after lunch here at the conference and about to head back into some more sessions. So
nice. We'll enjoy.
Yeah.
Cool. And by the way, it's been we haven't done it in a long time, so I thought we would maybe just plug Podcast Motor real quick.
Oh yeah,
Podcast Motor does all the editing and production and posting and all that show notes for our show, and they do a good job, and they should get some cred. So there you go.
Yeah, totally. They make it super easy, especially since we are so busy with our startups. I think I feel especially happy that we can just jump on, record this, save the file into Dropbox, and the next week a podcast comes out. So
yep, that is pretty
service.
handy.
Yep.
Yeah. So check them out if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fully managed podcast experience.
And please do still leave us a 5-star review in iTunes. It really helps
Or 6 if you can.
Or 6, or however many they'll let you add.
If you can inspect the form and override some variables and submit that. And
I trust all of you out there to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it helps a lot for ranking and such. And obviously we want to grow our audience here as much as possible. So thank you in advance.
Yeah. Yeah, and if all those kind of people wanted to access the show notes for this episode,
they could find them at artofproductpodcast.com.
Awesome. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you, man.
Bye.